Okay. All right, cool. So we're going to go over this article right here. And it says nearly 100 doctors have tried to diagnose this man's devastating illness without success. And this is from MedPage Today, Washington Post, and they have a series of articles related to healthcare. So let's read through this. And the way, this is from Sandra Boodman, September 21st. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. Okay, cool. All right. Tell me if I'm on. Give me a message. I can read the comments right now. Let me know if I'm on. Okay. Thank you. All right, cool. All right, so let's go over this. Okay, so this guy named Bob Schwartz. For Bob Schwartz, one of the hardest things about his unnamed illness is sleeping in snatches. When Schwartz, who battles insomnia, does manage to fall asleep, he wakes up every 90 minutes. Tell me if I'm on. Give me a message. I can read the comments right now. Let me know if I'm on. To urinate copiously. Most nights he sleeps a total of 4 hours. Thank you. All right, cool. All right, so let's go over this. Okay, so now this sucks. So to only sleep 4 hours is really bad. About his unnamed illness is sleeping in snatches. And he's got a horrible life. He's got to urinate every 90 minutes. Okay, so it says chronic sleep deprivation is only one symptom of a consuming and debilitating constellation of problems that has astonished and baffled nearly 100 doctors around the country with whom Schwartz has consulted since 2016. So in 3 years, he's seen 100 doctors, and you and I are going to diagnose him right now, and this should be a lot really bad. Despite his Herculean efforts, the 59-year-old retired medical malpractice lawyer turned philanthropist still doesn't have a diagnosis. So later in the article, he says he retired at the age of 47. So for a living, he's been suing medical doctors for medical malpractice, and he's made a lot of money. And maybe this is karma that he's not getting his diagnosis because he's sued a lot of MDs. I don't know, I'm just saying. This is very interesting. In addition to his nocturnal urinary problem, Schwartz suffers from massive shifts of body fluids when he stands up or lies down, very high blood pressure, chronic digestive disorders, severe hormonal imbalances, muscle wasting on his left side, and exhaustion. What does that sound like? It sounds to me like two things. Number one, it could be lactic acidosis, which could be as also, there's two voices of you. All right, see if this is better. I'm new with this. This is called eCam, and let me know if my voice is better now. Whoops. Okay. I'm sorry. This is a little choppy. Okay. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs. Let me know if you can hear me. All right. Can you hear me? Okay, good, thanks. All right, I'm gonna have to redo this, but okay, so back to this guy. Okay, thanks. All right, great. So let's dissect his symptoms. The other thing I'm thinking, okay, lactic acidosis. What causes that? B vitamin deficiency. What's the main source of B vitamins? Liver. And nutritional yeast, of course, is one of them. But B vitamins come from meat and liver. And then the other thing that could be going on is, okay, he's got the shifts in the body fluids, high blood pressure, chronic digestive disorders. That sounds like mold. And I had some of that when I had mold, including the digestive disorders. I didn't eat red meat for 6 months because my innards weren't working very good. I had high blood pressure. It got up, my highest was 155/95. And then standing up and laying down, there was a shift in my body fluid. Standing up, my feet would be swollen. Muscle wasting on his left side and exhaustion. I was completely exhausted with black mold. And muscle wasting, yes and no. I think yes, because for me, people noticed that I was sort of caving in a little bit with the shoulders. All right, so this guy, if he was a patient of mine, I would check out mold and I would look at his diet. Simple enough. I don't think this is mysterious at all, but 100 doctors haven't been able to find his diagnosis. He has traveled to the Mayo Clinic twice and to the Cleveland Clinic. I have patients, they come from all over, they've been to every doctor, they've been to these same clinics. And then I fix them because I have my viewpoint and my knowledge. Last fall, Schwartz, who lives near Detroit, okay, so he's not too far from me. I'm in Ann Arbor, he's probably within an hour of me. Spent a week at the Undiagnosed Diseases Program at the NIH, the highly selective 11-year-old effort by the nation's preeminent research hospital is designed to diagnose the most perplexing illnesses. I do have their website. Let me just quickly see if we can go to that and make this work. Yeah, the Undiagnosed Diseases Program, genome.gov. So why would it be genome.gov? Why would they be focusing on that? Well, we're going to talk about that here in a second later on. All right, so here he is, Bob Schwartz, yet the former marathon runner. Okay, so check that out. He's a marathon runner. They need special nutrition. They need extra protein. Yet the former marathon runner remains what one male specialist dubbed him a zebra among zebras. That comes from this medical term meaning if you hear hoof print or hoofs in the outside, don't think zebra, think horses. Unless you're in Africa, then you got to think zebras. But here, think horses. So he's a zebra among zebras, an extraordinarily rare case. NIH doctors have identified an apparent reason for his symptoms. His veins are grossly enlarged and too stretchy. Okay, so I had that when I had black mold. I could see it in my wrists. My veins were like super big, and I was waterlogged. And like I said, my feet were swollen up, and I felt like heavy. So his veins are grossly enlarged and too stretchy. And with lactic acidosis, that makes your arteries dilate, and it can also make your veins dilate. Okay, but they don't know why or how to treat it, and they've never seen a similar case. Wait, I know how to fix stretchy veins. That's Collinsonia root. That's a product from Standard Process. There's other types of herbal roots that are called astringents. If you look up categories of herbs, there's tonics, and there's emetics, and there's adaptogens, and there's astringents. There's like a dozen or more categories. So an astringent can dry and clean. So Collinsonia root is one of those. And if the veins are too waterlogged and they're too soft and too stretchy, tighten them up with an astringent. So that's what that guy needs to feed his veins while you're looking for the cause. And so we have not yet gotten to the cause with him. Okay, we don't have an answer yet, says Donna Novasic, the attending internist at NIH's Clinical Center, who coordinated the multidisciplinary team of experts that examined him in Bethesda last year. Schwartz, she noted, quote, has quite an enduring spirit despite a very complicated problem. All right, for Schwartz, the singular nature of his case, singular nature, meaning he's only got vein problems or circulatory problems, I'm not sure what that means. The singular nature of his case and the lack of a diagnosis have caused moments of existential despair. I'm with you on that. I've been there. You know, I started getting my first mold symptom in October of 2015, and then by February I thought I was dying, and I'm laying in bed scrolling through my phone. What's the phone number for 911? Which hospital should I go to? Should I drive myself? Should I get an ambulance? How much does it cost for an ambulance? Why did I buy this house? The yard is too big. I can't mow the lawn. Hopefully it doesn't snow because I can't snow plow the driveway. Why? Existential, right? Despair. But he says he has resolved to learn everything he can about the illness that has upended every aspect of his life. And that's part of his problem because he's looking for an illness. Well, your illness is all these symptoms collected together and then given a name. Why don't you stop looking for the illness? Because it's not really about the name. It's more about the cause. What's your cause? Then that solves you. When you get the good solution, it opens a door. I'm sorry. If you get a good cause, it opens the door for a solution, and relatively quickly. Not like 3 years later, you're still struggling. Okay. Schwartz says he hopes the story will elicit suggestions that could provide him some relief. Maybe I should email him. Because philanthropic work is the cornerstone of his life, he wants to help others facing their own battle who can glean something or reach out to me for advice. So he sounds like a really great guy. And he did make a lot of money in his career, and he set up a foundation. I think that comes later. Okay, until 2016, Schwartz said he was the epitome of health, a vegetarian since high school. Okay, I gotcha. Alright, he's deficient in protein. And deficiency of protein can make the veins dilate, and it can make your tissues, your connective tissues, weak. And your heart gets weak, and your arteries get weak, and then you can't move fluids around like you're supposed to, and you get waterlogged, and then you lay down at night, and you're not urinating during the day, but you lay down at night, and gravity helps pull that water from your feet or wherever up into your kidneys. So that's the problem. He's deficient in protein. Alright, a vegetarian since high school. He never smoked or drank alcohol. A lifelong and enthusiastic athlete. He ran 10 miles a day and played basketball. So 70 miles a week, like that's a lot. He's run a lot. He needs extra protein. In 2007, Schwartz, then 47, retired from his law practice, suing medical doctors, with his wife, Robin, a graphic artist. They founded a foundation. He is the chief executive, and they award small, one-time cash grants to more than 7,500 residents of Southeast Michigan. Some are newly released prisoners, others are trying to starve off eviction or need money to buy a reliable used car to get to work. Yeah, this is a great guy, donating small amounts around the area that I live. Sometime in 2016, Schwartz said he began feeling tired. And that's like the most common symptom people come to me with, and I'd like to catch it at that, right? It's easier and easier. It's easy to fix fatigue, and there's a lot of causes. During his outdoor runs, his hands and feet felt unusually sensitive to the cold. Okay, that's key. What is the one food that creates the most amount of heat? It's red meat. It's the most thermogenic food. It gives you heat. And he's not eating it because he's a vegetarian. His body's breaking down. And maybe his immune system is breaking down. And maybe his immune system is weak too because of the lack of protein. And maybe he's got mold somewhere. Or maybe he picked up a virus that's having fun in his body. So, I just thought, well, I'm getting older. Okay. The urinary problem started in 2017. During the day, this is what I kind of mentioned earlier. No matter how much liquid Schwartz consumed, he produced little urine. That's because he's standing up. Gravity keeps the fluid down there. And he doesn't have enough osmosis and pressure from his feet and his legs in the cells and the veins. Well, it's the cells that are collectively pushing fluid up. Veins do not squeeze. Arteries squeeze. Arteries are made out of muscle. So in order to get the blood from your toes and your ankles up to your heart, it's all the cells collectively pushing together, eliminating their waste. And so during the day, gravity was overtaking the power of his body to push that fluid up. Okay, so during the day, no matter how much liquid he consumed, he produced little urine. But when I lay down at bed at night, he recalled the opposite occurred. His nightly urine output totaled about 51 ounces, the equivalent of 1.5 quarts. Urologists could find nothing to explain this phenomenon. When I had black mold, I experienced something similar, and it was just weird. Like, I had bowel movements and I had urination at the weirdest times during the day and night, and sometimes it was urgent, and sometimes there was nothing there, and it was like, what's going on? It's because my body was filled with mold, and it affects the function of your organs, including elimination, bladder, kidneys, intestines, prostate, etc., etc. Okay, so this is not a mystery to me at all. I see this every day, and I'm looking at it, and I know the mechanism behind it, right? That's the point. Okay, and I just thought, well, I'm getting older, is what he said. The urinary problem started in I already said that. In September 2017, Schwartz landed in Beaumont Hospital, Royal Oak, near his home. Okay, his blood pressure was sky high, 180 over 100. Hit far above his normal 110 over 65. He had no energy, and his extremities, particularly his legs, felt heavy and swollen. So they were filled with fluid. I have some people, they wake up in the middle of the night, and their legs feel heavy and swollen. So what they do is they start kicking their leg. You can't see me doing it, but they're kicking their legs, and they're trying to move the fluid and just get fluid moving back up. right? So, yeah, they're swollen and heavy because he's filled with fluid. Doctors quickly determined that Schwartz was suffering from hyponatremia, so low sodium in his blood. And so they gave him sodium. I'm going to skip forward because low sodium is dangerous. Unable to find the cause, doctors transferred Schwartz to the University of Michigan. So that's 4.5 miles that way from my office. And he spent a week there, and doctors were able to control his hyponatremia, his low sodium, which they determined was caused by an unexplained increase in his blood plasma volume. Michigan specialists referred him to the Mayo Clinic at Mayo. According to an interventional radiologist at Michigan, his condition continued to amaze and perplex doctors. The scan revealed that Schwartz is like iliac veins. Okay, that's, you have all this blood going into the legs. It goes down from the heart, you got the aorta. It goes like this, and it goes down the center of deep in your torso, down by your spine. And then it splits. The aorta splits to your legs. And the exact opposite is true for veins. You got two veins coming up your legs, and then they join together right here, and that's the inferior vena cava, and then the superior vena cava. It's just the same vein. It's the biggest vein in the body, and it goes like this, from your belly button or lower up, from your pelvis up. Okay, and that's what they're talking about here. The scan revealed that Schwartz's iliac veins were greatly enlarged, as were the vena cava and his aorta. So the arteries are dilated, and the veins are dilated. But the results of several tests were inherently contradictory. Despite chronic low sodium, Schwartz exhibited clear signs of dehydration during the day while upright, but when he lay down at night, fluid gushed back to his kidneys, causing excessive urination. Mayo experts ruled out several possible diagnoses, including vasculitis. So they're looking at the veins and inflammation in the veins. And so but you can have nutritional deficiency and no inflammation. And you could die from nutritional deficiency. So yeah, good thing they ruled out the inflammation, that's fine. And he probably doesn't have an infection because he's got no vasculitis, but he's deficient in nutrients. Okay, so vasculitis, a group of rare diseases caused by blood vessel inflammation. Not that. They asked me to come back in a year to see what had evolved. And when he returned, doctors had nothing new to suggest. So now the next part is about a very dark place. Schwartz, who is fluent in the language of medicine, spent much of 2018 consulting experts around the country. Most via video conference, he sought out specialists in cardiology, blood vessel diseases, and endocrinology, as well as anyone he believed might have a hypothesis about what may be wrong or how to help him. An interventional radiologist at Michigan referred Schwartz to NIH on Diagnose diseases program. The radiologist wrote in his referral letter, Schwartz has been untiring in seeking an explanation for his illness and hopes NIH experts could shed some light on a very dark place. Okay, the program, this is where it gets interesting. The program, 1,200 patients have been seen. They reject about 80% of those who apply. Okay. And the effort has several goals: to identify previously undiagnosed disorders, to determine their possible genetic underpinnings, and to provide useful advice to suffering patients, even in the absence of diagnosis. So it's a genetic thing. They're looking for genetic problems. Since its inception, the network has unearthed a diagnosis in approximately 35% of the cases and identified 31 new syndromes. So the syndrome is just basically, here's a collection of, let's say, 11 symptoms, and we'll call it syndrome. The word syndrome means we don't know. And so if you take, out of those 11 symptoms, let's say you take 7 of them and add one more from another unrelated symptom, now you have another syndrome. Okay, now take those original 11 symptoms and then take 5 of them and add 3 more, and now you have another syndrome. So it's just a puzzle of symptoms, but they're not looking for causes. Okay, so 31 new syndromes, probably complete waste of time. Some diagnoses I don't even know what they are. Some diagnoses are made through a sophisticated, time-consuming genetic analysis known as DNA sequencing. Okay, so DNA can be changed by your food and lifestyle choices. That's called epigenetics. Epigenetics is more important than genetics. Now, if Bob Schwartz came to be a patient of mine, I could probably fix him. And I would have him eat a ton of meat and we would strengthen up his arteries and his veins, and I would look for mold, and if he's got it, we would fix it. And I can give him some supplements to tighten up his veins and feed his arteries, feed his liver. Maybe his kidneys need some help because they regulate fluid control. I don't think this is a hard case at all. I see things like this all the time. I've been at this I'm going to use the term chiropractic nutrition. I've been doing chiropractic nutrition for 22 years. That's different than registered dietetics nutrition, which is where they count how many calories of green beans and cans of green beans they need to feed a prison, or nutritionists in the hospital. They're trying to give you the heart diet or the diabetes diet, which maintains your disease but doesn't reverse anything. The point of chiropractic nutrition is to reverse the disease, which is a completely illegal thing to say and do, by the way, because of the laws in our country. Okay, but I don't care. There have been cases that were solved years later. We may find an answer in the future. Okay, I'm moving forward. The role of running, this gets interesting too. In late October 2018, Schwartz and his wife, whom he declares a pillar of strength and hope, spent a week at NIH. His team included cardiologists, rheumatologists, vascular specialists, a geneticist, and an expert in dysautonomia, which means the nervous system is wacky. So like if you jump up and down, or you turn your head real fast and you feel like you've left your body, or maybe you bend over and then you come back up and you get really dizzy, or maybe that's all symptoms of it. Or maybe you get super stressed out and then you crash. Or you could be super stressed out and you're like hyper. So dys means unregulated, and the autonomic nervous system is not in good shape. That's what that is. Which is lactic acidosis, by the way. Okay. Where am I at? Okay, so a geneticist and a disorder. Okay, Schwartz, who called the team phenomenal, that's in quotes, underwent numerous additional tests, including a highly specialized PET scan, not available outside the research hospital. Once again, experts were mystified. I would not call those experts phenomenal if they're still mystified about this. It's a shame. It's like horrible. It's stupid. Maybe they're phenomenal like people, and they're fun at dinner or bowling, and we have a great time. That we had a phenomenal time. But you got to fix his body. This is biochemistry. Okay, the case that most resembles Schwartz's is that of a marathon runner with very enlarged veins who suffered from recurrent blood clots. Okay, now he's got recurrent blood clots. What does that mean? That means his fats are off, he's not been in ketosis, he probably has high lipoprotein A, C-reactive protein, homocysteine, and fibrinogen. One of those four are high, maybe 2 or 3 or all of them. He's got blood clots. So the way you fix 3 out of these 4 is with ketosis, and then the 4th one, which is the homocysteine, you fix that with methylated B vitamins. There's all kinds of research on that, MTHFR. You can Google that and you'll find out about that. Okay, he was seen at NIH several years ago, but so far doesn't have a diagnosis. In Schwartz's case, the leading hypothesis is that his enlarged and overly stretchy venous system might reflect a subtle problem with the collagen in his connective tissue. Yeah, he's a vegetarian. He doesn't have enough collagen in his body. It is possible that the collagen, a protein that functions as a sort of scaffolding and holds the body together, is not strong enough to support the walls of his veins. No, it's not that it's not strong enough, he just doesn't have enough. Right? You could build a wall that's 2 feet high and everybody jumps over it. And you're blaming the wall, like it's not strong enough. No. Make it 8 feet high and then people can't jump over it. Okay. He also shows signs of dysautonomia. Right. Years of running might have exacerbated the problem. This is a very contradictory statement right here. Novosik said, possibly through the repeated pounding involved. But it also is possible, she noted, that running was in some way protective. Wait, it exacerbated his problem, but it was also protective. Nope, that's not it. Running has nothing to do with this whatsoever, to be honest. Well, it probably sped it up, but he's deficient in meat. We can agree on that. He's deficient in meat. And he needs to eat, let's say he weighs 170 pounds, he needs to eat 170 grams of protein per day. Not 170 grams of meat per day, because meat is both protein and fat. So he needs to get that protein up. His fat intake, 100 grams, 140 grams. But if he's a marathon runner, I wouldn't be surprised at, 200 grams a day. Because Because he's thin. Okay. Running was in some way protective, probably not. Delaying the onset of symptoms that might otherwise have materialized earlier. One possibility is that the underlying cause may be genetic. See, the whole genetic thing is like the bells and whistles of the Las Vegas casino. It's bright and shiny, it's complicated, and there's lots of noise, and it's intricate, and you get all sucked into it. And then in the meantime, you're leaving out the basic cellular functions, respiration and metabolism of cells and mitochondria, right? Which is very well known. It's just not applied. And the DNA is a distraction. For doctors like this, and the NIH and Harvard and all these people, we don't know that this dude is deficient in collagen. He doesn't eat enough meat, and he needs some B vitamins. All right, so this is great. To help control daytime swelling, NIH experts recommended that he wear specialized compression garments. Great, so wear tight socks, and in the meantime, keep eating your vegetarian diet. With strong blood vessel walls, the only thing you can do is compress from the outside. Without strong blood vessel walls, the only thing you can do is compress from the outside. Unfortunately, the team had no advice about ways to curb his nighttime urination. Well, it's not about fixing the urination. It's about fixing from head to toe his nutritional deficiencies. Then all these symptoms start to go away. All right. Novosek said she is acutely aware of the plight of patients like Schwartz who don't receive a diagnosis. There's a lot of angst and uncertainty. This is odd. Schwartz said he derives perverse satisfaction from the knowledge that he has done everything humanly possible to find an answer. That is not a true statement. This guy loves medicine. He's been suing medical doctors for medical malpractice his whole life. He went to law school. He focused on medicine. He only talks to medical doctors, and he's talking to hundreds in the last 3 years, and they don't mention anything about diet or nutritional options here. So he has not done everything humanly possible. Okay, so he tries to focus on other things. He exercises every day on a specialized rowing machine to try to maintain some level of fitness. All right, fine. That's not going to help one bit. He spends time with close friends. Okay, great. And foundation work is a full-time job. He knows in a general sense what okay. Anyone can give up. It's the easiest thing in the world to do, but to hold it together with everyone would understand if you fell apart. That's true. Okay, that's it. I'm done talking about this article. So I found this through a post on Instagram from Dr. Sean Baker, and I was a bit intrigued. I did a search today. I found this on Washington Post. It's on several other newspapers too, online. So I just grabbed this one, but I don't know, maybe I'll reach out to him, or you could maybe take this video and send it to him if you know who he is. And he's a nice guy, I'm a nice guy. We would get together and have a great time, and I might be able to help him out. So there's a ton of comments here, and let me see if there's any questions. Yeah, probably nobody has ever talked to him about his diet, because everybody thinks a vegetarian diet is good. Everybody thinks that running is good. You know, so running and vegetarianism together, good together? No. Okay. Yeah, good question about the mold. Phenomenal bowlers. Alright, so it's been a half hour, and I didn't get to any questions or comments. I'm going to read these later. I appreciate watching, and I appreciate your support. I got to do a plug for my office. I have people fly in from all over the world. I've had people from Papua New Guinea and New Zealand even, and from Europe. I've talked to people in China on the phone, so we can do phone consults. We can do look for local people. They can come here, even if they live in the Bloomfield Hills area or wherever Bob Schwartz lives. You can come here. I can see him on a regular basis. And some people fly in for one visit, and then we follow up on the phone once a month for a number of visits after that. And I got several other practitioners. We do hardcore holistic nutrition. I've been at this since 1998. And my purpose is to bankrupt drug companies by getting as many people well as I possibly can with the least expensive programs in the shortest amount of time based on the principles of healing as set forth by Mother Nature. So the tagline for my office is healthcare the way Mother Nature intended. So thanks for watching. I'm going to see if I can close out on this. I don't know how to close out on this. See you at the next, there it is. See you at the next live stream.